So guys, picking up on yesterday's video and the comments about this tree, a dead tree being planted in a dried up pond in a wheat field. Picking up on the comments, some people said, "Oh, it's witchcraft." It isn't, guys. That tree was dumped after Christmas in the undergrowth over yonder, and some bright spark has decided, presumably for a laugh, to plant it. You see, that's the kind of sense of humour we have round here. If I was a kid and I'd seen that tree, I'd probably have done something similar. But good morning everyone, my name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Wednesday, I think. Yeah, Wednesday. But this morning I want to get straight into it, and I want to talk about 3 topics. I could have split this into 2 videos, but decided just to keep walking and keep talking because it's such a lovely morning and not have to think about where to stop and then restart. But there's always a danger when I do different topics that people just look at the title, don't watch the video, just look at the title and say this is clickbait, because somehow they rearrange the wording in the title to their own kind of, I don't know, their own schedule, and then accuse me of clickbait. But you're here, we're nearly 2 minutes into this video and you've stuck around, so please stay to the end and listen to everything I've got to say. So again, 3 different topics, related because they're all relating to the Summer Wells case, but you make your own mind up about how related they actually are in terms of finding summer. Where is summer? Those key questions, the questions that I'm here for and nothing else. So firstly, overnight my time, several creators have received text messages from Candice, allegedly Candice, from her number, implying that she wants to unalive herself. The channel Dolly Vision showed the text on his phone and rang Hawkins County Sheriff's Office. Others are saying it's a hoax, it's a prank. It's a pretty sick prank if it is. You know, Candice drunk, wanting to prank. Guys, if it's a prank, then it's a prank. When somebody implies or threatens to unalive herself, you should take it seriously. Take it from one who knows, as there's been an unaliving event in my family. Take it from one who knows that everything, every claim needs to be taken seriously. Now, some people might say, well, they've told people they're going to do it. Therefore, it's not a serious thought process. Yeah, in many situations that's true. People who want to unalive themselves and go on to actually do it generally just don't tell anyone. They just go and do it. They might leave a note for those who deal with this after the fact, but they don't actually tell anyone that they're going to do it there and then. And yeah, in many cases that's the truth. I don't want to go too much into my personal story with an unaliving event, but the person who did it and didn't tell anyone. Left a note for people, the police, to find after the fact, but didn't tell anyone. However, for years before, he was disturbed, depressed, sometimes seriously ill, and had said to numerous people, including myself, that he was going to do it. I'd gone to the doctors with him, got him crisis support, put him in touch with certain groups who could help him. He told lots of people, he told Facebook, so much so that a lot of people just thought he was attention seeking. But this day he wasn't. and he just went ahead and did it. So take it from one who knows that every implication and unaliving event should be taken seriously, just in case. Because if she's feeling like that, if this is true and she's feeling like that, yeah, she's told people this time. Perhaps it's a cry for help this time. Will that help be delivered? Maybe it will. Maybe the person or persons that she's with at the moment, because I don't believe she's at 110 Ben Hill Road. So what can Hawkins County Sheriff's Office do, frankly? I hope the person or persons she's with take this seriously, are dealing with this, and Candice is getting the help she needs. That help has to be received. You can give someone all the help in the world, all the crisis support in the world, and sooner or later they'll go on and do it. But all you can do is try. So there's that. Now, some people I've seen in comments have kind of tied in this with the fact that there was a body found in Bristol, Tennessee, yesterday morning. The official statements that have come out initially from that is that skeletal remains have been found near an industrial park or place in Bristol, which is, it's less than an hour away from 110 Ben Hill Road, so it's accessible in a wooded area around that place. And it's been sent for forensic examination, and more details will come in a few days. Now, I believe one creator, I believe JLR, rang the police to ask, and according to that report, it's an adult male. I said in my Facebook group when this first came out and people started posting that this was most likely not Summer. This was most likely an adult, because if it had been a child, they would have said so. They'd have been able to tell if this was, in Geordie Sue's words, a tiny human as opposed to an adult. So I think the news would have reported it slightly differently. Official confirmation on that has not come, but I don't believe it's Summer, and I don't believe that Candice is threatening, implying that she wants to unalive herself because of this body that's been found. Could be completely wrong, but I don't believe that to be the case. Now, I want to go on to talk about the thing that I said I was going to deliver part 2 of yesterday. Yesterday, I did part 1 of Jodisue's family revelations. A number of creators on CSI's channel. I'll put a link to it in the description box. It's nearly 9 hours, guys, and yes, I listened to it all. I had earbuds in the whole day yesterday, near enough. Well done to all for a genuine discussion that was, useful, productive, and bringing people together who at some time, have been in opposition of each other. So it's good to see everybody coming together for Summer and to find out what happened to Summer, because ultimately this is what it's about, right? It's not about naming and shaming particular people. It's not about going real life. It's not about doxing. It's not about making people's lives a misery for the hell of it. According to Sheriff Ronnie Lawson, everybody connected to that case is still a suspect, still a person of interest, in his own words. So we have to look at everybody. So people, if you're coming into my comments saying leave Geordie Sue alone, well, no. Would you say the same about discussions about Candice or Don or Grandma or Ali or H or anyone else connected to the case who, in Sheriff Lawson's words, are still suspects, still persons of interest? Would you say that? Or are you just defending Geordie Sue? If so, why are you defending her? Well, that could be because you believe she's completely innocent. But that's not what the Sheriff's Office are saying. So if we want to be fair and we want to discuss this case online, on social media, and discuss everybody connected to the case. And I'm afraid Jodisue is among them. And as I've said multiple times now, Jodisue, up until recently, I believed was a witness, a key witness to the timeline. And I shut down conversations, and I'm sorry that I did that now. Yeah, I don't agree with conversations about, you know, personal insults towards her voice, etc. Don't agree with that. I will absolutely shut those things down. But I shut things down in my Facebook group, in my comment section of YouTube, because I was defending Jodisue. And I was wrong to do that. I was wrong to do that because everybody is still a suspect, a person of interest, according to the sheriff. And Jodisue was one of the closest people to Summer, you know, in physical proximity. She was one of the closest people, as were her children, one of whom was an adult, 19 at the time Summer disappeared, the other a younger teenager. They were there. Jodisue and her adult son have gone on record on WJHL and said they were there and they heard the scream from the banking of their own property, which is the opposing hill a small distance away to 110 Ben Hill Road, both hills being at the beginning of the Ben Hill Hollow, as that hollow then winds its way up into the mountain. So we've got to look at her. We can do it in a respectful manner, looking at what she said, looking at the totality of evidence, which is absolutely what I've been doing in these videos about Jodisue. That person there. We'll go down this way. It's very slippery. It's rained overnight, so it's not ideal for going off track here. I'm just going to take Tilly down here so she doesn't create holy hell. Come here, Tilly. Come on, go down here. Tilly, this way. Let's keep her busy till we've gone. Oh, that way. Oh, I'm in the creek bed. Look how shallow it is here. Let's stick it. Wait there. Very shallow today. Only about there. Anyhow, they've gone. Come here. No. You're not going back. They've long gone. You're not going back. None of your business. What people say about you, Tilly, is none of your business. That's absolutely a motto of mine. So Jodisue can rant and rave about me talking about her, about considering her a person of interest and looking at her in that way, rather than just a witness. She can rant and rave, I don't listen to it, so there's that. One of the things that I thought was really interesting that I'm going to talk about here in relation to Jodisue and Andy was close to the 4 hour mark, so around, you know, in the halfway stages of that live. They were talking about the criminal charges that Jodisue and Andy have on their record. And they were talking about that in conjunction with a massive drugs bust that happened, 2009? But it went on for a while. And there was over 30 people in the Beach Creek area arrested. Now, I made a video about some of those people who were arrested in that drugs bust and how Sheriff Ronnie Lawson, you know, took the accolade for cleaning up Beach Creek. I made that a few months ago now over on Michelle Walks, so I'll leave a link to it in the cards there, and I'll put it in the description box of this video so that you can go back and watch it. It's only a short video. It piqued my interest because one of the main players in this distribution ring, so it was marijuana, oxycodone, coke, those kind of things. A lot of it was oxycodone. One of the drug kingpins, as the press called him, was someone called James Light, who lived in one of the Light hollers. There's actually two hollers with the name Light. One out towards Rogersville, a couple of miles westish, and then the other towards the east, where RSO Frank Light lives. But this James Light, you know, he was considered this kingpin of one of the operations. Presumably there's more than one operation going on, more than one kind of distribution person, because lots of people were arrested and got some decent jail time over it. And, you know, the list of people with the surnames well known to that area, the Dykes, the Lights, the Bernards, number of others. And it's interesting that around this same time, Jodisue and Andy were also arrested for violation of the law in relation to drugs. Now, the big charge that sits here is a Schedule 2 drug. So I looked this up in Tennessee. This is not weed, guys. This is opiates, coke, meth. The case against Jodisue was dismissed, but the case against Andy, he pled guilty to this. So when people say, oh yeah, you know, Andy is a dealer, you know, he's growing his own, and the reason why Jodisue and Andy were funny about the searchers being on their property in the first day or two after Summer disappeared was because they needed to basically get rid of their plants, get rid of their growing operation. Don't know how much they were growing, but that's what's been said. And once they got rid of them, then they were okay about people going on their land searching for summer. And I can see that. I can. You know, we might say that could be why Jodisue said they went to Fields Road, one of the other properties that the Bernards own, very close to one of the Light hollers, incidentally. And they were actually growing there. They had to go and sort that out. You know, Jodisue said it herself. You know, she complained about somebody, a neighbour, putting a gate up that she climbed over, which I would have done the same. You know, she got it confused because she said when we were searching for summer, and then she changed it to when we were searching for Dobbs. So, which was it? Because you'd got rid of Jackie Dobbs, hadn't you, on the 14th, Jodisue, when you called the cops. You got rid of him and then went looking for him in all the hollers. Why did you do that? But that was before Summer disappeared, wasn't it? That was the day before Summer disappeared. So did you go to the Fields Road property looking for Dobbs on the 14th? Or did you go there on the 15th looking for Summer? What? Which one is it? Anyhow, there's that. So I think it's quite possible that they needed to get rid of their drugs before they allowed searchers on. And that could be absolutely the reason why they acted funny. Why Jodisue took her dog out there while the search dogs were there to disrupt the search whilst they got rid of their drugs. And it could be as simple as that. That's all it is. Made a video recently about a search dog stopping at Jodisue's feet. You know, when she was out taking her dog for a walk, that got into a fight with the search dogs because she wanted to just disrupt what they were doing, allegedly. But one of the search dogs stopped at her feet. Well, did it stop at her feet because there was the scent of summer on her feet? Did it stop because she just happened to be standing on a trail that it was following? Or did it stop at her feet because it got attacked by Geordie Sue's dogs? We don't know. Because, in my opinion, that's a clear act of disruption. But did she only do that because she wanted to hide the operation that was going on there? Not because she had anything to do with Summer's disappearance. So I'm being really fair here, guys. You know, Jodie Sue can spin this any way she wants. I'm being really fair with what I'm saying here. But back to the nearly 9-hour live and that drug bust in 2009, 10, and, you know, the investigation went on and on and on. So it's around the same time that Jodie Sue and Andy got their charges. Andy pled guilty, Jodie Sue's was dismissed. Presumably, Andy admitted to it all, and then Jodie Sue got off with it, presumably. And then there was some smaller charges. Yes, guys, it's a long time ago. It's a long time ago. They've not had any more recent charges. This is their record from Sullivan County. This is what it says from Hawkins County. So unless they got charges in other counties or other states, then that's their record. Yes, it's a long time ago. How does this relate to Summer, I hear you say? Well, stick with me. The discussion got really interesting. Speculative, yes, but interesting. Because if those charges were at the same time as this big investigation was going on, you know, a lot of it into Schedule 2 drugs like coke, oxycodone, you know, the opiates. And this oxycodone was coming in from a pain clinic in Georgia. And there was, you know, corridors of drugs being moved from state to state. Were Jodie Sue and Andy's, you know, little thing going on, was that all done as part of that same bust, or is it just coincidental? We don't know. They're not named in the, you know, the list, the long list of 30 plus people who were ultimately charged, you know, along with drug kingpin James Light. Did they get a lesser charge, or in Jodie Sue's case, dismissed? Because they squealed. Because they were informants about other things that were going on in the area. It's an interesting speculation. Very interesting speculation. Can't prove it one way or another. Obviously, if you're a police informant, you don't go and talk about it on the internet, do you? But if they were informants then, what if they've carried on being informants? What if one speculation made in that live was that Summer was taken because they got the wrong girl, they got the wrong family. They were actually trying to get back at Jodie Sue for something she said. Well, we can easily see how that could be the case. But someone stealing a child for revenge, whether they meant to take that child or not, is pretty extreme. The average drug dealer, the average person who has beef with you doesn't steal your child. If we ever had to even contemplate something like that, then I think it would be more than a mere neighbourhood dispute over something that's been said. Stranger things have happened. Kind of find it hard to believe that someone would do that. Someone would steal a child and then go completely missing for almost a year. You see it in the movies, but it's pretty far-fetched in real life. But it is possible. The situation of both revenge, debt, drug involvement, trafficking involvement has come up before. And August, September into October, it was my number one theory that Summer had been sold, had been trafficked. But it was her parents, either one or both of them, that were the people that sold her, either permanently or a temporary transaction that went wrong. And it's still on the table because I can't discount it. But I'm a lot less inclined to believe that actually was the reason why Summer disappeared than I used to be. Because I know so much more now. There's so many more things that have come out that I believe are probably more likely. But according to Don, this was something that the police questioned Don about. Do you remember the conversation when he said that the police accused him of selling his daughter for drugs? And he made up this wild story to whichever YouTuber he told this to, I can't remember. Ziggy, I think. Was it Ziggy? I think it was Ziggy. That they accused him of selling his daughter for drugs. So, to prove to the feds that he didn't need to sell his daughter for drugs, he bought $2,000 worth of coke and gave it away free. Dear me. But Fred Hill did mention it. Fred Hill mentioned that Don asked him to go with him to Knoxville. So I don't know whether that was the same time or another time. It's also been said that Andy went somewhere shortly after. Did he go with Don? I mean, look, guys, you know, we know there's a connection there between Andy and Don. You know, according to Geordie Sue, she last saw Summer alive 2 nights before she disappeared. You know, the tale about seeing Summer come out of the shower, seeing Summer kind of wet, naked, being a brat because she needed a towel, and then her somehow knowing that Don was in the shower with Summer when you can't possibly see the shower from her vantage point, which was outside in a vehicle, outside the front door. Doesn't make sense. Anyway, Andy saw Summer the night before she disappeared. So what were you doing there 2 nights in a row? What was Andy doing there 2 nights in a row? What was going on? Were you delivering marijuana? Nothing to do with Summer whatsoever, just making a drop off. What? Being neighbourly, borrowing a cup of sugar. I don't know. It's just interesting. It's interesting. What's also interesting is what H said. You know, when he spoke to Chris McDonough. What are you doing? Tie my shoelace. You know, it's interesting what H said to Chris McDonough. 2 times during his interview, he dropped the name Andy. He dropped the name Andy when he talked about a creepy guy. You know, that allegedly on the day of June 15th, Don had rung Candice about, that there was a creepy guy on the property. And H said it was Andy or Anthony or some kind of A. Was there a creepy guy? How did Don know there was a creepy guy? Did Don get a call from the boys saying there was a creepy guy? You know, maybe they just saw him from the bushes at a distance. Maybe there'd been creepers there before. We definitely know there was creepers there after Summer disappeared, because that's why they got the camera system, the security system. We know that Andy Jr., Jodie Sue's adult son, aged 19, was seen and chased off the Wells property. Weirdly, chased him through the woods. Jodie Sue covered for him, honked her horn. I speculate, as do a number of others, that Jodie Sue had sent him up there to spy, just to listen to what was going on, because she's a nosy neighbour. Is there anything more sinister to it? Is he the peeping Tom? Don't know. Does that have anything to do with the disappearance of Summer? Maybe not. The other time H mentioned Andy was when he allegedly read Candice's deleted texts, which is possible on an Android phone, guys. Talked about this multiple times, multiple videos. And he said This is Andy, a drug dealer. So is he actually talking about Andy Senior, Geordie's then partner, the father of her kids? Not Andy Junior. Was Andy Senior there the night before to drop some drugs off? Did Don owe Andy Senior money? Was Andy Senior or Junior there on June 15th, creeping around to wait for them to collect some money? Who knows? Speculation alert. We do not know. I'm just throwing out ideas. But in the police allegedly accusing Don of selling his daughter for drugs and thinking about the connections Don has, the things that Don has said, he has said to people that he used to run drugs from Mexico. We know he goes for days and days on end. I explored, as I said, for months about the possibility that someone was sold to clear a debt. But you're quite right, the average drug dealer, you know, the little pins, don't want to be bothered with a kid. If there's a drug debt, yeah, they'll want to collect, but they don't steal your kid because of it. You know, you're talking high level. You're talking about those networks that not only traffic drugs, but also traffic humans. That's what we're talking. We're talking about people with those kind of connections. We're not talking about Mr. and Miss Average who's selling a gram of weed here and there. We're not. We're not even talking about the kingpins like James Light. We're talking about people high up in that chain, very high up in that chain. We're talking about people who do have those connections out of state. But did this happen? Not at the hands of Candice and Don, but at the hands of someone else. But Detective John Pruitt said that there was no evidence that Summer had been abducted or trafficked out of the area. So these, you know, interstate trafficking rings, they're either too good and they've completely evaded law enforcement, or it didn't happen. But it doesn't mean to say that she wasn't taken and something happened to her locally. But if that's the case, we're looking at Beach Creek residents, aren't we? People in closest proximity to Summer. And that has to include Geordie Sue, Andy Junior, other neighbours, Don Sherfy Jr. It's to include all of those people. So don't come to me saying leave Geordie Sue alone. Coming full circle on this video, don't say that until law enforcement comes out and absolutely clears her. Then I'll leave her alone and I'll leave everyone else alone who's been cleared by law enforcement. But until that time, sorry guys, if you want me to investigate the Summer Wells case, we have to investigate everybody and every possibility. So there you go, and that's where I'm going to leave this video. Thank you so much for staying to the end. Shaping up to be a nice day. Rained hard overnight. This week's liking it. Perfect weather for a week. Anyway, goodbye from Miss Tillington and Miss Cassie Springer. Bye guys.